Welcome to this special meeting of the Board of Selectmen for August 16th, or is it 17th?
17th.
2020. As chairman of the Board of Selectmen, I am declaring that an emergency exists and I'm invoking the provisions of RSA 91A23B. Federal, state, and local officials have determined that gatherings of 10 or more people pose a substantial risk to our community in its continuing efforts to combat the spread of COVID-19. In concurring with their determination, I also find that this meeting is imperative to the continued operation of town government and services, which are vital to public safety and confidence during this emergency. As such, this meeting will be conducted without a quorum of the body physically present in the same location. At this time, I would welcome members of the public accessing this meeting remotely. Even though the meeting is being conducted in a unique manner under unusual circumstances, the usual rules of conduct and decorum apply. Public comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Any person found to be disrupting this meeting will be asked to cease the disruption. Should the disruptive behavior continue thereafter, that person will be removed from the meeting. Please note that all votes this evening will be taken by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. I'll ask each board member to state their name and if there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting. This is required under the right to know law. And we'll start with Mr. Dargy.
Paul Dargy, I'm alone at this time.
Ms. Duziak?
Laura Duziak, I'm alone.
Mr. Labonte?
Chris Labonte, at this moment, I'm alone.
Mr. Freelon? Not yet. I'm Gary Daniels, chair, and no one is with me. Okay, at this time we will, I guess, open it up.
Sir, I'm sorry. This is John. That was Selectman Frill on the phone. He's trying to get in right now. I'd resent him. The invite he had wasn't worth. There he is right there. Never mind. There.
Okay.
He's on now, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Friel. Mr. Friel, you on? He's muted. Mr. Friel?
No, I don't hear anything. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Friel?
Now I can hear you. Yep.
Okay. Anyone in the room with you?
No, I'm sorry. I just got logged in. Dave Friel, and no one's in the room.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. At this time, we will we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Have I got screen sharing ability?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic
Which it
for
stands.
which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so this special meeting is being held because there was an emergency order put out on Tuesday afternoon that basically indicated that events of 100 people or more would require people to wear masks as well as adhere to the social distancing. So that kind of swept the Labor Day parade into the whole issue. I think it was probably being driven by Bike Week, which starts in Laconia this weekend. But again, we got caught up in the executive order on that. So with that, we'll let someone from emergency services just kind of explain their side of it. And maybe we'll start with the police because I I think that affects you most. So we have either Chief Viola or Captain Fry on.
Yeah, I'm on, Chairman.
Okay,
In reference to the parade and the executive order, the biggest issue that we see is in reference to enforcement. Based on the emergency order, it'll be upon us to enforce any violations of this order. So again, if people are in the crowd and they're not wearing masks, that's a violation. I don't think we have the personnel to enforce it at this time. It would take a lot because our main concern is traffic and everything else. Our main concern is the parade route to make sure everybody's safe and, from vehicles coming on and so on. So that was our biggest concern coming in, was the enforcement and our officers being really taken to all different sides. If somebody comes up and makes a complaint, they have to look at the complaint. The enforcement part would be you would end up taking some names, numbers, incident numbers, and so on. And then the follow-up would be with the Attorney General's office and so on from there. Again, once that happens, most of the complaints will go against the parade organizers, which really has nothing to do with us, but they're the ones that are going to be liable for this. Our other issue is that we want to make sure that our community is safe. And to do that, we would have to bring in, I feel, to properly make sure everybody's safe, we would need more people if we were going to enforce that, as well as make sure the safety of the parade, the people in the parade and the people watching the parade is paramount. So that is our concern on this. We feel that enforcement wise, it's a no-win situation for us.
okay, thank you. Anyone else from emergency services wish to add to that? Seeing no hands.
Yeah, no, sorry, Gary.
Okay,
I'll
Chief
speak to
Doherty.
that real quick. Yeah, so I did talk to the Attorney General's office today. Although they won't take a stance for or against the parade itself, they want to leave that up to the municipalities because, as you know, throughout the state, each town and each county is completely different for potential cases or cases in their communities. But he did want me to make sure that everybody understood that everybody in the parade, including on the floats, in the bands, would have to be wearing masks as well. Excuse me. Whomever is organizing the event would have to take reasonable accommodations to make sure everybody that attended the parade either A, was informed, or B, had the ability to get PPE. So then that would be incumbent on the VFW or parade organizers to supply PPE for anybody that needed it. And again, with the other thing we're trying to do here is we're trying to have school open for our children to give them the opportunity to go back to school. And this event that could draw between 20 and 30,000 people could hurt that process for the children of this community. Because if we have large gatherings, everybody knows the chances of introducing COVID to the community increases. So we have to keep that in consideration as well.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Any other emergency services?
Mr. Chairman, one more thing. I did check with other departments within the state, had a few responses from other chiefs, and most of the events that I could find out anywhere from Memorial Day on forward have been canceled. So I reached out to them to find out if anybody was having anything to do with Labor Day. There's really no events going on around the state. And most everything that has happened July 4th and so on have been canceled throughout the time. I did find one place, I think it's Tufton Borough, that they did have, they are having old home days. But again, the town is mandatory masks. If you don't have a mask, the organizers are making sure there's masks there, there's sanitizer and so on. So they're taking some precautions. But I don't think that they would have the amount of people that we're going to have here. Don't know, but I mean, we're talking thousands of people that we could have, especially in the Oval area.
Okay, thank you. Is Brendan Philbrick or Jay Duffy on?
Yeah, Jay Duffy's here, Gary.
Yes, Jay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
May I speak, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, everybody. I just briefly, the meeting the other day, I was, I think, you know, I think, and I myself included, I think there was a little bit of panic, seeing that the governor had given the order the day before. I just have a couple of things. I think we're all on the same page. We certainly do not want, Chief Flaherty stated, you know, lack of a better word, a pandemic here in Milford. I think both Chief Viola and Chief Flaherty spoke eloquently the other day, and I certainly respect both of their concerns and the responsibilities that they have, because they take their jobs very seriously, and it's very, very, very evident. Having said that, the safety of the town is of, you know, paramount. Absolutely. A couple of points. You know, we have the pool open. We certainly have a huge amount of children and adults alike going there. We have the band concerts going on with a huge, you know, a good amount of people there. I feel, and of course, you know, the board, the selectmen have the final say, and I certainly respect, you know, whatever that outcome would be. I feel that the parade could and should go on. I feel like we're going to be social distancing. I feel like if you go to the Milford Oval on any given Tuesday morning, any random day, you'll see our townspeople are taking this pandemic seriously. I mean, the ratio of people with masks to people without masks, certainly people with masks are outweighing the non-masked people. And I also believe that we're not giving our townspeople, the people of Milford, enough credit to take care of themselves, because they're showing that they are. I mean, we're not a you know, an ignorant town. I think we're very responsible. I think we're very intelligent people. However, I do understand and respect what both Chief Viola and Chief Flaherty's job and what they have to do. So I do feel the parade could go on, and could go on very, very smoothly. People that do not want to attend will not attend, and I believe people will social distance, and people will wear their masks. You know, we now have this beautiful field at the top of Keys Park by Elm Street Cemetery. There's plenty of room there to sit. Social distance. We didn't have that last year, as I recall. And also the Oval, of course. I think people will be responsible and take care of themselves. But I do understand, and whatever the outcome of the meeting of the Selectmen's decision, I certainly respect. And once again, I think the Chiefs are doing a fantastic job. You know, it's very evident that they care, and I respect the job that they have to do.
Thank you, Jay. Mr. Shannon?
Yes, sir. Just a quick mention. So, day-to-day operations of Milford are exempt from this thing. Plus, I don't think we really have 100 people anywhere. I know the swimming pool is well below 100 on any particular day, and we've taken reasonable precautions to make sure people are separated. So I don't think those comparisons are fair when you're talking 50 people or so to, you know, a few thousand. Also, the other point is, I agree with you. People in Milford are smart and they know what they're doing. And the problem is, this is not just a Milford-only event. It's you know, it's whoever wants to come. It's a, you know, so while, you know, I have the utmost in faith of the citizens of this town, I can't speak for people from Massachusetts or Connecticut or people who just might be on vacation up here and hear about it. You know, we don't have any control over who comes to it. It's not a ticketed event. So, who you let in and that sort of thing is problematic. So you kind of run into something there. So just to point that out. anyway, that's all I have, sir.
Excuse me, Chairman?
Yes,
Yeah, also, and I hear what you're saying, John, yeah, that's something that we cannot control who's going to come in, but I do believe that people are going to social distance. I believe that people are going to wear their masks. We also have the webcam at the Oval for people that want to stay home and view it. And I believe that many people are. Those that do not feel comfortable will not go. I really feel that we need to give our people, we're an intelligent people. I've been here all my life. We're an intelligent town. If I was on a Tuesday, any random Wednesday morning, and I was walking down the Oval and I was seeing people not wearing masks, being shoulder to shoulder consistently, I would certainly, say, this is certainly something we need to address, that we need to think about. I really think that we need to give our townspeople the credit that they deserve. And as I said, the Oval Cam is there also.
well, thank you, Jay.
It's a hard choice. It's a hard choice. And I also say too, with the governor, I invited the governor to come on Friday. It was looking good. Today he did decline. I received an email from his office. I also think that the governor's order, as far as 100 people goes, for speaking with Chief Viola, we had this the motorcycle week, I believe, and then also there's this religious outing going on in New Ipswich, and it had to be addressed. Finally, I really feel that the parade could go on comfortably. I certainly respect the board, and I certainly respect the chiefs and what they're doing, and whatever the decision is, I will certainly respect it.
Thank you. And I would agree with you. I think Milford has done a good job. I think there's only 4 active cases right now. I know that the Oval area does get very congested, but I also have some concerns about the staging area. I mean, particularly with national candidates running, how would you handle that? Because I mean, that tends to be kind of a
It's congested
anyway until the parade starts.
Yes. Well, as we usually do, Brendan and his sister Sarah and Lisa, we placed the candidates down by the chain at the high school, and they are always at the end of the parade. And gentlemen, it's a matter of, we're going to consistently verbalize the importance of social distancing. And I'm sure, and Dave Alcox down the Oval will inform him to please, consistently state that fact. I really think people are going to abide. I think, I really think that we need to give these people credit.
Brendan Philbrick here.
Yeah, Brendan.
I had my reservations after the Wednesday 11 a.m. meeting that we had, and I went to the beach with my 6-year-old, and at 6 o'clock we walked to our car, got changed, and got some money. I went to have dinner on Ocean Boulevard, and what I saw in Hampton was a parade every day of the week. Police officers, no masks, no mask on a four-wheeler, no mask on a motorcycle, no mask on foot, no mask in an SUV, police. I walked from the beach up to the parking area and saw a huge amount of Massachusetts plates. New York, New Jersey, Delaware, cars from all over the country. And if this was a Zoom meeting, I would have 2-minute presentation, which I'd like to do next Monday for the go or no go in this parade. I sat there on a balcony with a glass sidewall, and there was 76 people on this deck. The only people wearing masks were the waitresses. You couldn't have put another table or chair on that deck. Back to back, shoulder to shoulder, I'm down, looking down at the police officers on the corner, on foot, with no masks, and I'm like, wow, look at this. They have a parade. If it's a warm, sunny day, I would invite any one of the board members and both fire chiefs, and I'll give you $100 each. If you commit to go there with your spouse from 6:30 to 8:30 and see what I saw. No masks, people all over the place, roller skates, rollerblades, hoverboards, walking, dogs. It was a parade. And I said, my God, look at this. With all due respect, you need to get out of the closet and get out of your bubble in Milford, New Hampshire, and go see what's going on. And not to play light with COVID, but some of this language in this order talks, school's exempt. You don't think there's over 100 people, Mr. Shannon, in a Milford High School? Well, I think it's about 300 per class. And never mind the faculty up there. So this language is talking about going in and out. And the parties, Ken Flaherty, I don't care what some little protective attorney general's assistant wants to interpret this. But if they were so strong against it, they would have said absolutely not. Secondly, they're talking about a facility, reasonable compliance, in and out in this facility where 100 more may be present in a facility. And I wanted to go down with my Sony and take 2-minute video to show you what I saw, because I don't think everybody's going to run down there to go to Hampton Beach. My spiel is, out of the $100 I give you, spend 20 on parking and go take your wife to dinner and walk around and see. I was going to take 2-minute video, not to be overbearing, and just play it. What I saw was unbelievable. Of course, if it's a cold, rainy day, you're not going to have that down there. But the political people have from the high school or junior high to distance while they're staging. And, this is an outdoor event. The bands and the people on the float, like this little attorney general said, they're part of a group or a party. They're exempt. If you're talking about a family or a group, then they're a group. They're part of a group. It says, it's pretty clear. And I'm looking for it here in this little order here that, except for the following. Events, individuals.
Excuse me, pardon?
6 feet apart, except for those that are members of a household, that'd be a family, part of that person's party, which could be a band, assigned to that person's table. For scheduled gatherings subject to this exception provisions, attendees must wear coverings while entering and exiting the gathering and while moving to and from their seats. They're talking about a building. So that's about it. I'll have just a little more at the end here, but thank you for your time.
Okay.
Chairman.
Mr. Shannon?
Yes, sir. So the order specifically mentions scheduled gatherings. So people wandering around Hampton Boulevard. It's not a scheduled gathering. Second of all, it specifically mentions parade is spelled out in paragraph 1. And again, just because you may not agree with the governor's emergency order does not mean you are not legally responsible for following the order. And I'm sorry if the little attorney general isn't, what he told us is basically follow the emergency order or there will be consequences.
And he left it up to each town.
Sir, if I may, so I didn't interrupt you. So the fact that you show, just from what you're saying, you don't feel this emergency order is valid or applies, then it doesn't give me a warm fuzzy that you're going to do what needs to be done to see that the rules, according to what the Attorney General told us, are actually going to be followed. So that gives me pause. And also, do you have PPE that you can provide for people that don't have it?
Well, first of all, I'd like to answer that. The Chairman Daniels is running this meeting, okay? And he asked for questions or comments from the board, then he'll ask from the public, but you act like you're running this meeting, and you've been doing it for weeks. And you're obviously heavily lobbied the departments and are dead against this, as well as Selectman Dargy, who came out and tried to cancel stuff as a knee-jerk reaction back in May.
Mr. Philbrick?
So,
Mr. Philbrick, can you please address your comments to the chair?
Yes, Chairman, you do a fine job in running this meeting, but I find Mr. Shannon it jumps in out of place and then accuses me of doing the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Viola?
I just wanted to follow up in reference to the Hampton parades. I did contact the Hampton chief. I talked to the assistant chief at the time. They do not have any sanctioned parades. They haven't had any. So if there is a parade or something going on, it's just a group of people walking down the street. There's nothing around or city sanctioning, just for your knowledge.
Okay. Excuse me, Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, okay, gentlemen, I need to step out. And I believe that we all want what's best for the town. And I believe that we'll all have the townspeople, the best interest for them. As I said, I believe that the parade would go on smoothly with safety for the townspeople, and I believe they're being responsible as we speak. So I appreciate your time, and I respect all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Does the VFW commander know that the liability will fall with the VFW if something goes wrong?
Why would the VFW chairman have anything? The VFW is no longer running the parade.
But they're organizing it.
No, they don't. The Milford Labor Day Parade Committee organizes it under the umbrella of the town. That's why we came to you folks when the scandal was going on at the VFW. And brought the parade to the town, as you recall.
Okay, thank you.
So to clarify that, the parade is run by the town of Milford. So to answer the question, the liability would be the town of Milford.
Got it.
The VFW no longer is the umbrella.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Mr. Friel?
Thank you, men.
Mr. Friel?
Yes, Chairman Dennis. Question, has anyone from our town reached out to council to find out that if there was a parade and if somebody was to be infected, is there some sort of penalty, or can the town be sued, or has anybody looked into that? Because it's falling back on the town umbrella insurance policy. Is that what we're all worried about here? And have we talked to council?
I don't know, Mr. Calabria?
Good evening, board. Yeah, Mr. Shannon did ask me to reach out to Primex, and Primex informed us that we would be liable for any claim brought by a resident should something happen at the parade where people are not following protocol. So we would have to ensure, we would have to have the manpower to provide PPEs to every person there to protect the town's liability. Now, this is unprecedented times, so if a claim were to come forward, it would then be on us to prove that we had provided PPEs, we had enforced all the social distancing protocol, that we moved quickly if we noticed anyone was not following the recommended protocols. So there is absolutely a chance that we could have a lawsuit filed against us. How far that would go would be up to the courts, but there is definitely liability on our part to make sure that we enforce all protocols.
Thank you, Mr. Whitney.
Yes, Mr. Daniels, thank you. And I just want to say here, and especially through you to Brandon Philbrick, as a parade organizer or a chairperson for the committee for the town, you would have to, in fact, see that people participating in the parade especially do have their masks in that. This is one of the reasons that, the decision for the Pumpkin Fest was made that, we could not, handle, this sort of a requirement. I'm all in favor of having a parade, believe me. Nothing better I love than the Labor Day parade in the town of Milford. But in all responsibility, it does come to the organizers to make the steps that we are in compliance. So, you really got to, do some quick plans and show this committee that you'll have, the PPE and the participants in the parade, at least participants in the parades informed that they're going to wear masks. So, and thank you.
Thank you. Again, for the sake of anyone participating, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand. You can do that by going to participants at the bottom of your screen, and that'll generate a menu on the right-hand side, and you'll see a button over there called Raise Hand. We just ask if that you could do that. That'll help us to recognize you. I had heard something about a $1,000 fine per violation. I don't recall where I heard that. Can anyone speak to that?
Well, I would like, Brendan Philbrick, I would like to go back to what I said earlier. No one seemed to hear me, and no one seemed to understand that Hampton Beach has an unofficial parade every day of the week. There's no police running around enforcing. There's no fire department running around enforcing. And you know what? 99.9% of the people did not have masks. Once it got dark and I came out of the arcade, I saw 3 people out of about 10,000. So that's why I wanted the footage to put this in context. This was after the order came out. This was Wednesday. The order came out on Tuesday. The police department, the guys are hanging on the corner. I see them. They're on bikes. They're in cars. They're in the Razor, the 4-wheel drive, the little buggy there. The fire department, if they're on duty, they're in the station. Or if they're volunteers, they're at work. But I think people are overreacting here. I mean, if you could visualize, I'm not talking about the beach, the sand. I'm talking about Ocean Boulevard. It's cut off the cars right now. It's people walking. It's a virtual parade right now. You can go on, we can't do it because you people are on Zoom right now, but you could go on Hampton Beach Earth Cam and get 2 shots of the street, and of course 2 go out to the beach, and you would see. But I know it's difficult to do during a Zoom meeting. So what I'd like to do is ask for our normal meeting next Monday that we were going to do. And I'm going to go down, I'm going to get a few minutes of stuff, and I'll have Mr. Gendron put this up, or Jensen, put this up on the big screen. And you can see what I'm talking about. And hopefully we'll have I'll drive there and I'll take a little footage. And next Monday night, we were going to have a meeting anyways. We moved it up to this night. Would be 2 weeks, go or no go. And that would be August 24th. Is that correct?
Yes, but Mr. Philbrick, irrespective of what's happening in Hampton, we know that an executive order has been put out. Are you suggesting that our police department should willfully neglect the order of the governor?
Well, I think people are overreacting and just taking this way too serious, okay? You got 4 cases in Milford. I presume they're in a nursing home. Four active cases a week ago, last I knew. So I after seeing what I saw, I think it's foolish to cancel the Pumpkin Festival. I think it's foolish to cancel the parade. It's just silly. So I'd like the meeting Monday night to be the hybrid, you know, for people that don't want to come down or people that can't, like we had in the town hall. I'll go there at 5 o'clock. I'll try to have the IT guy have it all set up so that just, there it is. You know, if I can't produce it, you know, because we have rainy weather between now and then I'm going to have to eat crow, and maybe we wouldn't have a parade. Maybe that's what God wants. Maybe we're not supposed to have a parade. But I'm like, wow, look at this. We can have a parade. Look around. And it seems silly not to after what I saw. And I'd like for you to see it for yourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Whitney.
Just, I'm going to be just very brief, but Brandon is in charge of this committee. He seriously doesn't understand what we're trying to put aside here. The fact that they are responsible for providing the PPE, you know, and that, and nothing against it, but you know, no, I don't think that the organization is going to be there, you know, for this to be held, and that really hurts me to say.
Thank you, Chief Viola.
Just, Mr. Chairman, just in response to Mr. Philbrick, as he said, it's an unsanctioned event, or so the town has maybe no liability. Unfortunately, in our situation, it is a sanctioned event. The town would take on the liability, and also based on the governor's order, it does come upon us to do the enforcement part of it. And it's, God forbid something happens, we do have a breakout or something goes on, a couple things. The reputation of Milford would be hit pretty hard. You're hearing it all the time on the news now, which we don't need that here. And I don't want to put our officers or our people in a situation where we're going to look bad or something's going to happen. We have to do the enforcement. If somebody comes to us and makes a complaint, or if we see somebody violating, it's upon us to do it. If we don't do it, I'm sure somebody's going to contact either the board or Mr. Shannon and find out why we didn't do it. I think if you look at the pros and cons of this, right now is not the time to do it based on everything that could occur. Maybe nothing does occur, but if something does occur, we're going to run into issues as a town, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Friel.
Yeah, I'd just like to respond to Mr. Philbrick's comment of postponing the vote into the next scheduled meeting. Since we took the time out of our schedules to do it this evening, I'd like to have it done this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dargy.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, you were talking about the $1,000 fine. Emergency Order 65 expands on various things, and there's the various penalties are in that one. So that's where you need to look. There's a variety of different fines associated with different things. And the way I see it, I don't see there's any way that we could actually comply with Emergency Order 63 with this parade. Guaranteed there will be people that don't wear masks. There's a number of people in town that are anti-maskers that refuse to wear a mask under any condition. And so there will be people there without masks. And we'll be relying on the police to go up to those people and confront them to put on masks. And I think we're putting the police in an unfair position for doing that. If we wanted to put this on, we would need way more personnel managing the enforcement of masks. Dozens of people would be required to talk to people as they approach the parade, because you have to inform them of the mask requirement. You probably have to pass out leaflets to people as they come on. You'd have to have people going around looking for masks. We wouldn't have bands because band members can't wear a mask and play an instrument. So bands wouldn't be in the parade.
Bands are exempt.
Bands are not exempt, and please don't interrupt people when they're talking. So you couldn't have a band in the parade unless it was just a drumming band and still comply with the mask order. So my opinion is that we got to cancel the parade and due to the mask requirement. I'd like to make a motion that we cancel the parade.
Before I accept that motion, but I'm going to let Chief Flaherty speak first. He has his hand raised. Chief Flaherty.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to reiterate what Chief Fowler said, and professionally don't think it's a good idea at this time to have an event in this community. Also, for the record, everyone just keeps putting the fire department's name attached to it. I don't think a lot of taxpayers understand that Chief Flaherty, myself, and Captain Jason Smedick are the health officers of the community. So I think they get the two mixed up. And this is definitely from the health side of things, not the fire side. The fire side does not have any rules that apply to this. This is all done on the health officer side of our business. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear of that so that the fire department doesn't get a bad name.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dodgy has made a motion. State your motion, please.
I move that we cancel the Labor Day parade for 2020.
Motion made by Mr. Dodgy to cancel the Labor Day parade. Is there a second?
Second.
A second by Selectman Duziak. Discussion. Seeing none.
Gary?
Yes.
So can I just have a question, Gary?
Go ahead.
I didn't raise my hand. Sorry. So is there, I understand that, we can't have a Labor Day parade based on the way it's designed right now, but is there something else that possibly the VFW or that they can do to, if we cancel this, right now it's under the sanctioned town event kind of thing. But just like we had the, what did we have in the Oval there about a month ago? Black Lives Matter, what do you call it? I'm losing my word here.
Peaceful protest.
The social
Protest, thank you. Could they do something else like that, but that wouldn't fall under the umbrella of the town, so the town isn't really liable? I mean, we weren't even allowed as selectmen to say yes or no to that event, although that was even, a month ago. Things were even, every month we're changing in this whole COVID thing, and that was allowed. We didn't even really have a say. And here we are, we're about to cancel the parade. And I would love the parade, but I'm leaning towards, unfortunately, between the governor's orders and we're being forced into this. But is there something else that they can possibly do? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Well, I think we heard earlier that it's not the VFW that's organizing, it's the town of Milford. So I think that any organization who decides to do something that is contrary to the governor's Executive Order 63 at this point in time would take on that liability.
So the protest wasn't during that governor's order? That came after, I guess. Is that what you're saying?
That came out prior to Executive Order 63.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Gary?
Yes.
Just one more thing. Mr. Philbrook brought up the Hampton Beach thing. as an example of why the parade should go on. And I think that's an example of why the parade shouldn't go on. It shows that people are ignoring mask requirements. They're not following protocols. And I would expect that that would happen in Milford. If at Hampton Beach, everybody was masked up, I would feel more comfortable that maybe you could have something in Milford with people wearing masks. But it's the exact opposite. It shows that people don't follow the protocols. And I would expect that people would not follow protocols in Milford, at least not 100%, and that there would be significant violations of the mask order.
Mr. Friel?
Yeah, and I'd also like to just make one more comment about, at least in my feelings towards this, is that as much as, like, again, I would love to have this, you know, the school system just came down and said they were going to go remote learning. We made a big stink about it. I know I personally did because I'm a father of a child in the school system. I was very upset about that. And for them to go back and change their minds and get the kids back in the schools, and for us to allow something that would even take a chance of compromising even a little bit, is just, it would be hasty on our part, I believe. I mean, as much as you don't even know how badly I want to say yes for a parade. I mean, but I think that Paul hits the head of the nail on that and says, you know, if it's happening up there, it's going to happen. You know, I don't know. That's how I feel. Sorry.
Any further discussion?
I got one comment, Gary, if I could.
Mr. Labonte?
I guess, you know, I personally would like to see the parade. I feel the best you can do is ask people to follow the guidelines. I understand if they don't follow the guidelines, yes, there is consequences. I guess I'm just not a believer in predicting who's going to follow and who's not. But I guess if we chose to cancel it, I feel we need to look at every event in town that would fit this criteria going forward.
And I think I would agree with you, and I think that's what has been done up until this time, to going through the 4th of July stuff and prior to that. The only exception we made, and then it was a shortened period of time was the pool. And what I understand is been almost less people there per day on that. So I do think you're talking about a different instance.
I think, you know, we got to look at everything, whether it be, you know, how are we going to approach it if, you know, Wednesday night's band concert, if their approach is to be 100 people there, I assume the police department is going to go out and enforce that.
Chief Viola is still on. Chief?
Yeah, I was trying to hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. If we got the call, we'd have to go down and enforce it. We don't work in detail there or anything, but if we were there or if we got a call, we would enforce it. No different than if we're if you do decide to go with the parade and people make complaints, we will enforce it.
Okay. I feel we just got to be, I'm going to say level across the board. That's all.
Have to be consistent. I agree.
Yep.
Agree.
Any further comment? Seeing none, you ready for the vote? Mr. Dargy?
Yes.
Ms. Duziak?
Yes.
Mr. Labonte?
No.
Mr. Friel?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And motion carries 4-1 with Mr. Labonte opposed. Going on, are there any public comments? Claire Brewer? Can we unmute Ms. Brewer?
Okay.
There we go.
Claire Brewer, 18 Brookview Drive. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say I'm very disappointed this meeting was not broadcasted on Channel 21. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitney?
Yes, I just want to say, and this is not a slam, but the only reason I advocated on the side I did was the organizer of the event has to understand the importance of and the need to, you know, provide, if he'd said that they would provide the PPE to the parade participants. Signage has gone out with everything, and then communications. You know, again, social distancing is possible in that, and you know, especially in the parade, it's going to start at the high school and end at the VFW. But you know, as a citizen of the town, you've got to be confident in the people that are running the events of the town. And unfortunately, Mr. Philbrick didn't really communicate in a manner that I was confident that he would take appropriate actions. So, I mean, I am sorry, and this is one of the things that the Granite Town Festivities Committee had considered, was the amount of people that were going to be there and what would happen, you know, because we acknowledged that that would not be appropriate, you know, to ask everyone to mask up and to be in that close of proximity as we do with the Pumpkin Fest. So there's a big difference there. So just, you know, food for thought going forward. I absolutely love the Labor Day parade. I have, you know, for many years, and I, you know, even when living in Wilton, I come back and enjoy the Labor Day parade, but unfortunately, the town was forced into this situation. And I applaud and I support all of you and your decisions. And Selectman Labonte, I certainly understand, you know, your feeling, and David Freeland, your feeling as well. But Mr. Jargi, you know, yeah, people do have responsibility in that, but this was the right decision for the board to make. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Labonte.
Gary, do you know why tonight's meeting was not televised?
I do not.
Okay. I guess if we could look into it in the future, I guess I'm an advocate that everyone gets televised. I also think when we call a special meeting, it's also,
Chris?
I think, more important.
Chris, if I can speak.
Chris Hendry?
I'm looking into it right now. I'm thinking that the stream actually got overridden by the practice, or they're working on some stuff with the school board meeting. So I think that the stream got overridden at the time, and that's what I'm looking into right now. I'll get you a better explanation later.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
It is being recorded, just so you know, so it can get replayed.
And it will be replayed starting tomorrow morning.
Right, but I understand the comment about what people wanting to participate too. Mr. Labonte, did you have a further comment, or someone didn't take your hand down?
The hand just didn't go down. I'll take it down.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any further comments? Okay, going on, I think there was nothing on the next few items. Going down to 8B on other items for issues not on the agenda. Just an update on Osgood Pond, and I'll recognize the town administrator.
Yes, sir. So what they've completed the project. The town has gotten what it has paid for. He still has the equipment for another day or so, and he basically, to make it short, so he can do a little bit of extra work for us pro bono. He did request and wanted to know if he could have around 500 cubic yards for another site, and I told him how to get the board's permission for it to go anywhere other than Brock's. So that's what that's all I need to know, is whether you want to. And I understand that there's talking to a couple of you today, I understand it's a slippery slope. If you let one, then you got to let all kind of deal, and I get that. So I just need a yay or nay on that, and I'll communicate that with Matthewson tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And so our understanding that this is at no cost to the town.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just the materials is the only thing it would cost us.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to take up to 1,000 yards.
A motion by Mr. Dargy to allow Matthewson, well, okay, define them, and basically anyone who wants to get the material, is that what you're saying? So if there were more than one coming in?
The way I look at it is we want to dredge as much as we can, and additional dredging is a good thing. So if someone wants to go in and dredge some more, then more power to them.
But if Mathewson is allowed, if Mathewson is able to dredge more than 1,000 yards in their time that they're doing this and not charging, why would you want it to limit it to 1,000?
Good point. I'll take the limit off. The motion is to allow them to continue dredging at no cost to the town.
Okay, and to deposit the material at an alternate site.
Correct.
Okay, is there a second on that?
Second.
Second by Ms. Duziak. Mr. Labonte.
So do we start a lineup now for anybody that wants dredgings for free from the town of Milford?
Yes. Mr. Shannon.
Yeah, I will add just so everyone knows. So the way they rented the equipment, they still have it for a few more days. So once his rental is up and over with, that'll be the net. The town is still getting some of the stuff they're taking out. He just wanted 500 yards for basically for fill. We haven't had anybody else ask, but according to that motion, so I guess if anybody wanted it, they could work that out with Mathewson. But okay. It's a very short window that excavator is going to still be out there.
Thank you. And to just expand upon my answer to Selectman Labonte, I would say that yes, it would be on first come, first serve until that time that Mathewson says we're no longer digging.
Okay, so just for people that are interested in it, that's free of charge?
That is correct.
Okay, I just
what I don't know is whether the person is using their own vehicle to haul or whether Mathewson is using their trucks. Mr. Shannon?
Just to clarify Selectman Bonte's point, I don't know if it's free of charge or not. The town's not going to charge you anything. Now, whether they have to work out whatever thing they work out with Mathewson's away from us. So I just want to clarify that. I don't want you to call Mathewson and think they're not charging for anything. See, that's something that has to be worked out with them. That has nothing that's outside the scope of the town. The town's just not going to charge you anything.
All right, so we should just clarify that it is at no cost to the town. So
we're not going to charge. If somebody drives up, if Chris drove up there in one of his trucks and wanted some dirt, we wouldn't, charge him for the town. Wouldn't charge you. Now Mathewson might say, hey, it's $5 a scoop or whatever. I don't know what their agreement is with what they're doing with it right now. But the town's not going to ask anybody for money. I think it's the point. Mathewson might. I don't know. I can't speak to that.
Mr. Labonte?
I guess I never took my hand down. I'm not used to taking my hand down.
Okay.
Sorry.
And Gary, just one further clarification is that it would have to be compliant with all of our permitting.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think the digging of it,
yeah,
that's basically where the permitting will come in anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? So the motion, and I'll see if I can paraphrase, the motion is to allow Mathewson to work with a third party to further excavate the pond at no cost to the town until such time that Mathewson decides that they cannot do it anymore. Mr. Shannon?
Yes, sir. Just to leave it, instead of that open-ended, can you just say for the rest of this week and have it shut off on Friday? Because if they say they want to keep digging for 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think we'd be interested in that sort of thing. So I know their equipment rental's up, but I think if we'd be a little more specific, say they have the window closes on Friday. I think it'll close before that, but just I don't want him to say, hey, well, I got a lot of people that want some stuff and we keep giving them stuff. So it's just a suggestion. It's, I don't know if that's worth it or not, but.
Mr. Dargy?
Yeah, I don't know why we would want to stop them. We want to excavate more. We didn't excavate as much as we had originally planned on. And if they wanted to do a few more weeks, it doesn't sound like they do, but if they did, and they wanted to do more than 500 yards, I'd say go for it.
Oh, okay. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Mr. Labonte?
I was just going to reiterate also that if we could get somewhere closer to what we told the voters we were going to get, that would be more of a plus in the voters' pocket.
I would agree. So we'll leave that open-ended. Mr. Dargy, did you want me to explain that again, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay. So seeing no more discussion, the motion is to allow the dredging to continue at no cost to the town with the deposits going to an alternate location until such time that Mathewson stops dredging. Mr. Dargy,
Yes.
Ms. Duziak,
Yes.
Mr. Labonte,
Yes.
Mr. Friel,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes, and the motion carries unanimously. Okay. Anything else to be taken up?
Oh. I have an announcement, sir, but that I don't think it's not a vote thing.
Okay, well, why don't you go ahead with your announcement while I find the notices?
Yes, sir. So town hall is open, all regular hours, Tuesdays and Thursdays. However, the town clerk is sort of doing a reorg on how she's going to try to do things. Basically, she's going to go to a more robust appointment system. So until that time, we're working on that, right? Started working on it last week. Until she decides on when we pull the trigger on it, we found a couple that'll work really well. They're not going to be doing walk-ins for their 9 to 1300 like they have been. So walk-ins on Tuesdays and Thursdays for any department in town hall, save the town clerk. They're still doing appointments, phone, online, all the ways they've been doing it since March. And just to let folks know, so in the near future, town hall will probably be moving to full-time reopen for all other departments, probably within the next few weeks. So I'll sit down with department heads again, and we'll make sure we have everything ironed out, but we'll go back to that.
Okay, thank you. Further notices, the next Board of Selectmen's meeting will be held on Monday, August 24th at 5:30. This will be a hybrid meeting held in the Town Hall Auditorium to include Zoom access. Information for the Zoom access will be posted on the town's website on or before Friday, August 21st, 2020. Masks will be required upon entering Town Hall. If you don't have one, one will be provided. Once you're seated, your mask can be removed. Is there anything else to be brought before us this evening? Mr. Friel.
Yeah, I just had a question about to Mr. Shannon. Mr. Shannon, is there any idea on when the town clerk might be going back to full time like the rest of the departments? Is that your plan?
Yes, sir. I'm working on that with her. Obviously, it's better for my staff. It's more helpful if she's open, because 90% of the people that come here, give or take, have business with the town clerk, and she understands that. So, like I said, the appointment system we're looking at is it's basically to help better control crowd, because we'd have people line up maybe 10, 12 deep a few times. So if it's scheduled appointments, and you can just go online or Facebook, this is what we're looking at doing, and she can schedule a controlled number at, say, 20 or 30-minute appointments all throughout the day. So if you figured a normal day, she can see schedules two for every half hour. That's 4 an hour. So that's 32 appointments a day. And then you multiply that by 5, you're talking about 160 appointments she has during the week at different hours. So we think it'll work. It's what some other town clerks have been doing. And we hope to have that online really soon. So I didn't see her today. I didn't get a chance to talk to her. We'll try to, if we can get it ironed out, the software we're looking at is we can purchase and get up and running pretty quick. So as soon as we can get that, when I say robust, it's not appointment here, appointment there, just call and make it. You can do it online, much like the swimming pool. It'll be very similar to that, the way people reserve pods. So we're looking at options like that. So it'll actually increase the number of people that can come in, and it'll be a bit easier for them, because the times will be, there'll be a broader range of time. So we think it'll serve the people better. Like I said, we just have to figure it out, and we're going to get it up and running as soon as possible, sir.
Okay. And one more thing,
Yes.
in reference to Ms. Philbrick, is there going to be an issue where you might need additional staff to cover for some of the things that Tina would do for you?
No, sir. No, sir. We have one of the folks, I don't want to call them a floater, but they're part-time in here. we unfortunately had to, make do without Tina for a couple weeks, as you remember. This is just a few afternoons for, it's for a handful of weeks, but we'll do our best to manage. She'll be here, most of the time she's going to be here anyway. So as far as organizing and doing all that stuff, she'll be here to make sure we're doing everything the way we need to. So I don't anticipate any. I have other staff to draw on if the need arises, though.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sir.
Any more questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Selectman Duziak. Who seconded?
Second.
Second by Selectman Friel. Mr. Dargy?
Yes.
Ms. Duziak?
Yes.
Mr. Labonte?
Yes.
Mr. Friel?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. We will be adjourned. Thank you very
Have a
much
good night.
for joining us this evening.